Forget the low-cost cruises with their big, flashy ships. This time you're sailing on a liner, a real one, an Atlantic liner, the last one in service. Cast off for a legendary voyage, a 7-day non-stop transatlantic crossing, 7 days to reach New York Harbor. It's 6 in the evening. We're leaving Southampton. At the helm, or rather at the controls of the Queen Mary 2, is Captain Nick Bates.
Once we get into the channel, we'll then transfer control from this control panel over to the center of the ship. And I'll just do that now. We have to use a microphone system here because the center of the bridge is so far away. It's over 52 meters from one wing to the other wing. So to make sure that the orders actually get through, we transfer the call. Okay, take over control in the center now, steering 135.
1,132 feet long, 236 feet high, the equivalent of 23 floors. The Queen Mary is a ship unlike any other. This liner, launched from the Atlantic shipyards in 2004, can speed along at more than 25 knots under any weather conditions.
Good. I think really the most difficult problem is the weather. You've got to allow for the weather, and it's not difficult for the ship because this is a liner, and a liner is vastly different to a regular cruise line ship. We are built to go across the North Atlantic. But even having said that, I know, and we all know on board, the ship can handle just about any weather the North Atlantic can give us, but the passengers feel a bit uncomfortable. And obviously we want to make their trip memorable, but memorable in a nice way as they make their way over to New York or back again.
One of the passengers who has yet to get his sea legs is a young French writer, Nicolas d'Ove. This is his first voyage on the high seas.
You discover the real meaning of contact with the elements. By that, I mean, you usually cross the Atlantic in 7 hours. There's a little screen in a plane where you see a tiny plane flying over the Atlantic and making the crossing in 7 hours. Here we've what, 5 days? We're crossing the Atlantic at roughly 30 miles an hour at the speed of a moped. So we really are in contact with the elements. In fact, it's the most natural way of crossing the Atlantic. The plane is unnatural. Here we're totally in contact with the elements. It's fascinating. I feel like letting myself dive into the sea, so to speak, to let myself go completely with the rhythm of the wind, of the sea, of the ship. It's a unique experience, and not everyone gets to enjoy it. At one time, people who wanted to cross the Atlantic had to do it this way. It's a form of luxury, but at the same time, I think it's the most logical relationship you can have with the elements. So I'm not expecting anything in particular. I want to go with the rhythm of things. It's so rare to go with the rhythm of things. That's to say, really make the crossing, so you see the real elements close up.
As we leave the English coast, it's high time we took a look at what goes on in the bowels of this luxurious monster. There's no chance of being bored here. Everything has been designed to make the cruise passengers feel they are in a palace. The Queen Mary has a dozen restaurants, a theatre, a disco, a ballroom, a cinema, several swimming pools. In short, you don't know which way to look next. In his cabin, writer Nicolas d'Ove is getting ready to discover life aboard ship.
In the evening, it's serious business. You have to dress. Some evenings in a smart suit, some evenings in proper evening dress. That means either a tuxedo, so black tie, tuxedo with the satin lapels, or just a dark suit, preferably black, and white dress, just like in the old days. It's like people who go to the opera in the evening, they dress up. Here we're going to dinner. We spend 2 hours in a smart suit, but we play the game right to the end. It's part of the protocol. And when people travel on a Cunard liner, I have the impression that it's also to take part in these charades. It's fun. It's part of the game.
There we go.
Several floors above, in the high-class cabins, Mr. and Mrs. Burke are also getting ready. This Australian couple, who are so much in love, have treated themselves to a halfway around the world trip on board the QM2. On the menu, the Persian Gulf, the Suez Canal, Gibraltar, and now the immensity of the Atlantic Ocean. This evening, they've been invited by Captain Bates to a handshake and a smile, no more than that. The list of guests is very long.
If you're lucky, you may see a Scotsman with a kilt coming along tonight, because that is their traditional dress instead of a black tie. I think there were one or two on the boat at the moment.
I think my memories are from the old black and white movies, when you'd see Fred Astaire and the likes of that genre of actors, and you'd see them on cruise ships and everyone's dressed up, or very much from the royalty when you'd see the Queen and Prince Philip dressed up and going on the boats. But it is very much that black and white movie genre of people dressing up, and the likes of Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers.
A special occasion is how you describe it.
This is what they have all come for, a little dose of nostalgia for those old-time crossings to America and its promises. But at the time, crossings were not necessarily glamorous for everybody, especially for the less wealthy migrants huddled in steerage. Today, things haven't really changed. The upper decks are for the privileged. For the others, the crew members, there are the lower decks, not far above the waterline. What's more, something's going on the second floor.
Right, here we are, everybody. Welcome into the medical centre. Come on in. Okay.
Hi, he's
Hello.
screaming.
All right. All right, well, we'll just carry on walking. Okay.
What happened this morning?
Well, the little boy, nice young man here, he's age 11, he's fallen over and hurt his hand a little bit. So there's a little bit of blood on his trousers. I hope you don't mind that. Right, further down the medical centre. We have down here something that happens very infrequently. Everybody thinks that lots and lots of people die on the ship. It is a very rare event, let me tell you. We have a mortuary for 4 here. People, the last thing they want to do is a beautiful cruise or a crossing on the Queen Mary, and then if they know they're going to die, then they just go to sleep at the end. In the middle of the ocean, to be honest, everybody thinks it will be a heart attack or broken legs or things, but they all are very small compared to somebody who loses their brain and goes, what in England we say psychotic, and they're running around the ship, not listening to anybody, being very dangerous. They're very, very difficult to deal with. We have rooms for crew. Yeah, we'll open another window. They have the hospital beds here. They have a lovely view outside. And the food in here, of course, if they want caviar, they have that. If they want lobster or filet mignon, it all comes from the restaurant. It's the best hospital food in the whole world, probably.
We've now been sailing on the Queen Mary for 3 days. We'd almost forgotten that we were on a boat right in the middle of the ocean, a stormy ocean. Weather over the Atlantic has got worse. A heavy swell is forecast. That's not the sort of news to worry our writer, Nicolas, who's rather inspired. And as for our Australian couple, the weather is really no concern for them.
It's the complete opposite of what we're used to. Normally, Queensland's very hot, and so you just use cold water for a shower. This is very cold and the spa is wonderful.
It's something you have to do once in your life. You have to do a big cruise. We got on in Dubai and we'll finish in New York. But we've loved it so much we've booked another cruise. So it was supposed to be a one-off, but we've loved it so much we're now going to do it again.
5 floors below, there's a different sort of steam.
You mustn't forget that we are cooking for 2 sittings. This is the biggest of the kitchens in the Queen Mary 2. We've 8 kitchens, this is the biggest. We prepare around 2,000 covers each evening in 2 sittings.
Before taking over as head of the kitchen brigade on the Queen Mary, Jean-Marie Zimmerman, a French chef, had never set foot on a boat.
Nice plates, little sauce.
Today he's the man who dreams up the menus for all the restaurants on the ship.
Can we do that à la minute? I want him do it and go. I don't want it sitting like this. Let's do fresh. Bloody hell, à la minute.
Under the orders of the head chef, who is not one to hold his tongue, we have Mauritians, Indonesians, Filipinos or Chinese. They work 7 days a week for several months in a row for a less than modest wage. Naturally, without them, this sort of luxury cruise could not exist. Not enough profit.
Okay, how is it going? Alors, ici on entre la...
Here we are in the pastry kitchen. It operates 24 hours a day. Now we're in the middle of a service. You see, right now, we have a service of 1,000 covers and we have around 5 desserts on the menu. And this evening we have Grand Marnier soufflé. Hot. Okay? And we're going to sell around 450. But have you ever seen a restaurant that can produce 450 soufflés in a minute? Come on, let's see. Just look at that. Aren't my Grand Marnier soufflés fantastic? Come on, take a look. Take a look at the decorations for Easter. This is my head pastry chef. He's Indonesian. Okay. Hadi. Okay. He's making me decorations in chocolate. Just look at that. You mustn't forget that you've got to find the right product that will succeed. I'm not talking about chocolate, but in general, meat and all that. Just imagine, when I buy sirloin steak, I buy around 300 tons of sirloin steak each year. Just think about it. How many farms is that? How many animals is that? You really have to look for suppliers who can deliver quality that is worthy of the Queen Mary 2.
Back to the passengers.
It's very narcissistic. You're shut up with yourself, staring at your navel, and your navel is in the middle of the ocean, so you're really lost. And it's astonishing to be here in the middle of the water. I've just published a novel that takes place entirely in Paris underwater, the last days of Paris. It's after a flood, and here I've got the flood. I'm totally isolated in the end of the world, and it's ideal for letting ideas come. They come with the wind, they come with the spray. Let's say that the imagination is spurred precisely because one is alone in the face of the void, and it's from the void that ideas are born, for me in any case. These last 2 days have been something of a roller coaster. It goes up, it goes down, you wake up, you feel a bit sick, and then little by little our metabolism adapts, accustoms itself to the swell, and really you become a sort of fish yourself. That is to say that you mold yourself to the elements. And really you're nowhere and everywhere at the same time. That's to say you're in the middle of nothingness, and in a certain way you fulfill yourself differently.
Meanwhile, on the bridge, the hour is grave. After 5 days at sea, we are nearing a very bad memory for the Cunard Company. What's more, it's April the 13th.
Nearly done. Just want a little bit more. Well, here we are coming down on the Rumline course, and quite interestingly, we will actually pass quite close to where the Titanic came to her demise, and that was, of course, on the 14th of April 1912 when she struck the iceberg. But we're actually coming much further south than where the Titanic was. So in reality, really, she was extremely unlucky because she was even well south of what the known limits of ice were at that time. But of course, modern technology, we're able to plot. We've got much greater, more accurate information to go by from where all known ice fields are. So we'll be well clear of where anything is in that particular area. But obviously, it's a great emotional time for many people as we go past that, what was the second most famous ship in the world, next to the Queen Mary 2.
After a few minutes' silence just a few miles from where the Titanic sank, life resumes its course. With the return of the sun and a smoother sea, we approach the coast of America. While the passengers finally enjoy the calmer weather, the crew is at work.
It's an absolute fantasy. I mean, the arrival in New York, it's images that you've seen in films, you've seen in books, like in The Godfather or something else. This is the arrival of immigrants in New York, passing Ellis Island and arriving at the Statue of Liberty. These are very, very powerful images, movie images that are so much more poetic and evocative than the simple fact of a plane landing at the airport 3 hours from the city centre. Well, I'm exaggerating, but 3 hours including traffic jams.
For several hours now, the excitement aboard the ship has been palpable. The grand final of the Great Crossing is near. Slowly, we glide along the Hudson River. The glow of Manhattan is in sight. This is the very moment of magic for which the passengers have been waiting 6 days.
At 4 o'clock, the alarm goes off and everybody dives into the shower. Everybody dresses up warmly because it's cold. You rush onto the deck and it's dark. We're practically in New York. Suddenly, in the distance, little lights appear, freighters here and there, and now we're going under the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. And apparently the ship was designed specifically to go under this bridge, to within about 6 feet, except that you get the impression that the funnel is going to scrape the underside of the bridge and then bang, we're through. And there you are, we're in New York.
Go ahead, I need solemnity. This is Culinary.
Good morning, Captain. Just wanted to get a quick update from you. I'm going to have one of your 2 bunker barges this morning. Let's see what time you figure we ought to
For the Australian couple, Helen and her husband, this is also the end of a long voyage that will remain forever etched in their memory.
Beautiful skyline. For us, it's a completely different holiday experience because you are sort of isolated on the liner, if you like. And it's a special experience. You know, the food, the accommodation, everything is very, very nice. And you get to see, normally you'd land in a plane in a holiday destination, so oh, there it was. Whereas here, you come in and see it all, and yeah, see the countryside as you go past. So it's just different. It's been very, very special.
I don't think you could ever forget that this is probably the most prestigious ship in the world, and for me it's really the pinnacle of my career to be allowed to take command of this beautiful ship. I mean, I have to say, the first time I walked up the gangway, my chest sort of came out an extra 30 centimetres all the way around. Just I was so proud to be on board, and then to walk around the ship and just to have the pleasure of talking to people, passengers and crew. We must never forget the crew that we have on board. You know, they play a vital role in what we do.
For the passengers, this is the end of a voyage that is both mythical and romantic. For the crews, the clock is running. In just a few hours, this mighty liner sets sail to brave the Atlantic once more. Course set for Southampton.